Welcome to another video on the Inside Spurs channel. Happy Monday, late afternoon, early evening, depending on when it is that you actually see this. I hope the day's treated you well. Hope you looked after yourself. You got outside, you got some sun, all right, and you gone to the gym, or you're going to the gym. And if you are at the gym and listen to this, put it away. Focus. In this video, though, we are talking transfers, all transfers. We're talking a really interesting report on Pierre-Emile Hojbjerg, which I think he will be moving quite quickly this window. I will also be talking about a list of players also being tipped to being let go, as well as a really peculiar guy that we're looking at as a summer edition. So I'll be talking all that as well. I have also released two other videos today. The first one being the breaking news on Ryan Sessegnon being let go from his contract. As well as that, I also did the Sheffield United review as well. So check them both out if you've missed them. But yeah, just want to say though, if you're new, subscribe. You're very much welcome to join us for the journey. And I want to talk first and foremost on Pierre-Emile Hojbjerg. So first bit, so Paulo keeps been busy. He said that Pierre-Emile Hojbjerg has interest from 5 clubs abroad, Italy, Germany and Spain, and it's fully expected he departs this summer. I think it's not shocking that he's leaving. I think we can all expect him to leave. That 5 clubs being abroad, if I took a punt on who they are, I think the Spain one will be Atletico. I think Italy will have Juve. Ooh, I think there's going to be at least another one in Italy. Italy, maybe Napoli. Maybe Napoli. I think Germany will have. I don't think it'll be Bayern, because I think Bayern will go and get a 6 this summer. I think they're going to go get a good 6 as well. I think Dortmund, no, because they got like Emre Can and Sabitzer and players like that, so it's not going to be them. Leipzig, can't see it. I can see maybe like a Stuttgart, maybe, or Frankfurt. And then maybe Spain might have like a Sevilla or something like that, or a Villarreal, or I'm not too sure. But all in all, he will be expected to leave this summer. Paul O'Keefe also responded to someone saying, hopefully it's not a loan option. He said, yeah, that's garbage. Hopefully 15 to 20 million. So I think it'll be, 15 million. If we work with always conservative numbers that ends up being more, fantastic. If it doesn't, we're not disappointed. I think 15 million is probably about right. Last year of his contract and what have you. So a little bit of good stuff on that. And I talked about, in the Sessegnon video, we're moving on from players really early. Sess has got, he's got a month left until his contract expires. It normally expires on June 30th, so he will be gone. Tanganga, we've already accepted a bid from. We'll see what happens there. Emerson, we're getting a ton of interest on Emerson, so I expect him to go quite quickly. I don't think he'll go off to the Copa America, so it's not like that's going to get in the way of other clubs buying him as well. Paul O'Keefe also went on to say Spurs are prepared to let the likes of Forster, Lo Celso, Hojbjerg, Roden, Spence, Reguilon, Davies, Emerson, Ndombele, Brian Hill, Solomon all go. I'll read the next bit on that in just a second. I think when we look at that list, Forster does shock me, and I'll come back to it in a second. Lo Celso, I think he's going to be moved on. I mean, he comes on for 5-10 minutes and then gets a knock, and it's like, I'm a big fan of Lo Celso. I know he's a really good player, but part of you really wants to support him, but it makes it so much more difficult when he just can't stay fit, but he can stay fit in other leagues. So move him on, get 15 million, and just got to wash your hands of this situation. Hojbjerg, we've spoken about. Roden, let's just see what happens in the Championship final, which I think is Sunday. Leeds, Southampton. Because if Leeds come up, they'll buy him. No issues. 15 million, easy work. Spence, I can see him just staying at Genoa, and Genoa buying him for sort of about 7 million, something like that. Reguilon, yeah, he'll move on, about 10 million, I think. He won't be staying at Brentford. Supposedly, he'll be on his way back to Spurs now, as their season has finished. Sessegnon, obviously, I've already covered. Davies doesn't shock me. I just think Davies doesn't truly suit what Spurs are moving into in the next this next instalment of the Spurs legacy. Wonderful man, a good guy, one of those good guys in football. There's not enough of them, but he's definitely one of them. I just think it's time, and I think 10 million's about right, and I could so see a team down, not at the bottom of the table, but some like mid-table to bottom half table, something like that. Someone would absolutely snap Ben Davies up. 10 million, the guy can play left back, the guy can play centre back. Prem proven, all those things. I think we'll get about 10 million for him. Emerson, I've spoken about loads. I won't go into that. In Ndombele, we're not going to get money for that because of his contract, things like that. I just look at that as a wash your hands and move on. You're not making anything on that deal. Brian Hill, somewhere between 5 and 8 million, I think you'll get for Brian Hill. Just hasn't worked out. There's a player there, just I don't think in the Premier League. Manor Solomon, I think that was more of a punt into the darkness to see if it would work, and it just hasn't. Maybe he's not had the most of fair opportunities, but then also he's been injured for 6-7 months. So, and he would have had a lot of opportunities. All the injuries we had, he would have had opportunities. So yeah, you got to think. And then Forster, I want to come back to just now. I'm not sure we will move on from Forster. I don't look at him as the number 2. I look at him as the number 3 keeper, and obviously homegrown. But unless they're using that situation as a Alfie Whiteman and Brandon Austin fighting over the number 2 shirt, the other one being the number 3, both homegrown academy, fine. Okay, not the end of the world. Forster's on some decent wages, so yeah, I could see that making sense. Paul O'Keefe also went on to say, if the offers are right and circumstances fit the club's requirements, then Richarlison, Basuma and Skip could also leave. If I'm honest, I don't see Basuma leaving. I think as a number 8, I'd love Basuma. I just think he's got the energy to play 8. He's a really great presser of the ball and winning the ball higher up. We've seen it so many times this season. And if you don't know that and you want to argue on that, go argue with the wall. I'm not interested. On Richie had that really purple patch. That spell of, scoring a goal every game basically for 9 games or whatever. Spurs will move on from Richarlison if they get the money that they need. So with, when we talk about transfers as fans, we go, sell him and sell him and sell him and sell him. Clubs still have to work with financial fair play, and they're not going to sell a player, for losses. It just doesn't really fit what they're trying to do. So with Richarlison, we spent, I think, let's call it 60 million with add-ons and things like that. We've had him now a couple of years. He probably got himself a 5-year deal. It works out to about 12 million a year. He paid off 24 million. So you're looking at least 40 million pounds being needed for Spurs to move on. I think Saudi would absolutely bid you 50 million for Richarlison. Would he go? I don't think he would, to be honest. I think Richarlison looks at Saudi and goes, they'll be there again in 3 or 4 years. I still want to play in the Champions League. I want to play in Europe. So then I think you're going to struggle to move off of Richarlison. And Skippy's homegrown and academy trained. He's a good guy in the squad. I think, a little bit of versatility. I don't see any of those 3 leaving, if I'm honest. If I had to pick one, I think Richarlison. But I don't think he's leaving. I think they all stay. And Spurs can't sell, all of their first team squad just because you don't like them. There has to be some level of realism to know that we can't move off of everyone this summer. Now, January and the following summer could change a lot of things, but this summer is about making a huge dent, and then onwards is just keep chipping away at it. I think this summer is about moving on from, when we count this list, you've got Forster, Lo Celso, Hojbjerg, Roden Spence, Reguilon, Sessegnon, Davies, Emerson, Ndombele, Hill, Solomon. That's 12. Those 3 is 15. If Spurs can move on from, those 12, the original 12, solid. I think it's solid enough that you kind of go, right, there's some first teamers in. There's like Lo Celso, Hojbjerg and Emerson, and Hill. There's 4 guys you're moving out. You're bringing in about 5 guys now. Not burgers, all right? But it just makes sense, Right, I want to talk about this summer edition because this is going to blow people's minds and probably not in a good way. You sitting down? You ready? I hope you said yes, by the way. I know I can't hear you, but I hope you said yes. So Kevin Paul O'Keefe again, he said that Spurs are looking at Callum Hudson-Odoi as a potential summer addition, right? So I'm going to just bring up Hudson-Odoi stats just so you have an idea. Hudson-Odoi. Spell it right. There we go. I'm also going to bring up what transfer market value him as. So transfer market value him at 15 million euros. So about 13 million pounds, we'll call it. He's got 2 years left on his contract. I mean, to be fair, 35 games played, 8 goals, 2 assists for a team struggling down there isn't that bad. And for 15 million, it's not terrible. Homegrown, I guess you could kind of say. There's plenty of talent in him. He's 23, so still quite young. I know some people are going, no, we bought a winger from Forest last season. I don't want to do it again, Andy. It hasn't worked out. even though if you look at Johnson's stats, they've actually been half decent, which is quite surprising. Spurs are going to go marquee in terms of big signings. They're going to go for a big holding midfielder, number 6. I think they're going to go for a big striker. I think they'll move Sonny out to the left, hence why you've seen Sonny a little bit more recently in the last few games, more on the left-hand side. I think they're going to move Sonny to the left. They're going to make a big move at striker and a big move at 6. I think they're going to get a left centre-back who can play a little bit left-back. I think they're going to look at a right-back. I think they're going to look at another midfielder, like a solid. These are all solid signings, not like random signings. And I would like them to make at least a solid winger signing. And Eze's the guy. Eze is the guy. If you've watched Palace recently, he, Elise, and Mateta have been cooking. And Eze scored a couple of goals for Palace at the weekend against Villa. He was unreal. Please, Daniel, I know you're watching. Please, go on. Do it for us. Eze, big striker, big 6. Calafiore for that centre-back position. And then we'll chat about other ones if you want to chat, all right? But we'll see. Anyway, guys, it's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Drop a like on the video. If you'd hit me in the comment section below, your thoughts and opinions about those 12 players and the additional 3 on the list, as well as Callum, Hudson-Odoi. Obviously, subscribe to the channel if you're new and hit the bell notification for more. Anyway, guys, end of the video. I'll see you all very, very soon. Take care, guys.